Tony Morley's goals in East Berlin on Wednesday may have quickened the interest of England manager Ron Greenwood, for whom Morley scored playing for an England 11 the week before. Add to that the winner he got against today's opponents Wolves in the League Cup recently, and you can see why the Villa winger is the talk of the Midlands. Yet his own manager Ron Saunders dropped him last month, and the Villa boss now delays the return of Ken Swain in order to keep the side which won in East Germany. Gary Williams has been deputising while Swain has been injured, and it's interesting that Villa have used 16 players this season already, more than over the whole of last season when they won the championship. Wolves have used 20 players so far. They put 6 men on the transfer list this week, and one of them, Willie Carr, is recalled today in a revamped midfield which sees Colin Brazier replacing the injured Ken Hibbett. Andy Gray starts a 4-match suspension, so Mel Eves is at number 9. And he's the top scorer for Wolves this season with just 2 goals in his only league appearance to date. So Aston Villa kick off, playing from right to left, for a fixture which has plenty of history. The two teams drew 1-1 when the Football League actually started back in September 1888. And in the last few matches there have been 3 sendings off and a broken leg. But John Barnwell's problems are the fact that Wolves are the lowest scorers in the First Division, and rumours around Molineux include one concerning the club's former manager Bill McGarry. But back to the action, and here's Willie Carr for Wolves. That's Clark playing up front this afternoon with Eves. This is Mortimer for Villa. Aston Villa on a run of 12 games without defeat. And the two teams meet again here next Tuesday in the second leg of the League Cup. There's Alan Evans well forward. This is Tony Morley. The boos for Morley, by the way, refer back to an unfortunate incident here last season when he was involved in a tackle in which Peter Daniel of Wolves broke a leg. This is Mortimer. It's a good ball in too. Evans had stayed forward. That's Gary Shaw. That's Evans with the header. Covering defender was Palmer, and then Villazon. Derek Parkin at left back for Wolves as normal. Looks for Clark. Well controlled. Villazan. Palmer. Here's Colin Gibson for Aston Villa. On his own at the moment, but prepared to go alone. Certainly developed his game a lot coming forward in recent seasons, although he used to be a winger when Villa first discovered him, Colin Gibson. That was Clark for Wolves. And it's still Clark. And he brings the first true save of the match from Jimmy Rimmer. And Wayne Clark has been pushed forward today into the position where some people, including his elder brother Alan, the manager of Leeds, feel he's best, up front. Here's Cowns. Interesting battle between Cowns and Matthews on this side of the field, but this is Gibson. Brazier, Clark. And Clark worked that well back to Brazier, but it's a question now of Birch to Eves. Clark making his way across to the left. This is Birch. And on the far side, Willie Carr. And he forces a corner off Des Bremner. Wolves switching play intelligently there. Plenty of width. What they need now is some penetration inside the Aston Villa area. Parkin. Matthews is in there, and it was headed out by Peter With, and Jimmy Rimmer just for once was out of position. As Bremner comes forward now for the league champions. Good tackling by Colin Brazier, but perhaps a little too enthusiastic, the confrontation between him and Peter With. And bearing in mind the acrimony which has existed in this corresponding fixture in previous years, and indeed only a couple of weeks ago when Andy Gray was sent off at Villa Park in the League Cup, the referee is doing well to keep things cool in the first half. 20 minutes gone and no score. Gallagher takes the kick. On by Eves. Clark trying to turn. And Brazier. And Birch. Well played by Birch. Brilliant. Eves and Clark awaiting Ormsby. Oh, that was a smart piece of play by Alan Birch. He hasn't got the throw, but he did have Villa there tottering a little as he skipped past a couple of defenders and threatened to produce the telling opening. Palmer. And here's With, and Gary Shaw and Tony Morley up in support. Morley was the one who was offside. Mortimer. And Matthews with the tackle. Birch is coming to help him. So is Brazier. And that's Palmer with a good ball down the line to Birch. Oh, lovely turn. Right across as Carr comes in, and Mortimer is there to see it back to Rimmer. But the two most promising moves by Wolves have both stemmed from number 7, Alan Birch, who looks lively and imaginative on this right-hand side. Foul by Gallagher on With. Villa have pushed Ormsby and Evans forward here. It's Cowans with the kick. Oh, an offside against Peter With. That wouldn't have stood. He looks in anger at the linesman, because what happened there was the two central defenders who'd gone up, Evans particularly, dummied and allowed the ball to run through, and Peter With, coming in for what looked like a clear scoring chance, was in fact flagged offside. Here's Birch. Now Palmer. Clark up with Evans. Brazier. That's a good effort. Oh, Colin Brazier, who had a successful summer in the North American Soccer League with the Jacksonville T-Men, is playing his first full league match of the season today, although we saw him come on as a substitute at Ipswich the other week, and that was a superb shot. Cowans. Peter With cutting off the back pass, forcing Palmer to go the other way. Villazan, outside of the foot from the South American. Here's Willie Carr to Brazier. And now Mick Matthews. Birch is staying on the right for the minute. Now he's coming inside to take the ball from Matthews. And as he did so, Gibson came across his path. That enables Gallagher to go forward for the free kick. Safely collected by Jimmy Rimmer. Half an hour gone. Wolverhampton 0, Aston Villa 0. Gibson with the throw for Aston Villa to Morley, back to Gibson. Here's Cowans, inside for With, looks for Shaw with the back heel, here's Shaw! Oh, well, that's the perfect combination of Peter With and Gary Shaw. How often it's worked for Aston Villa, and you won't get a better example than that. The ball from the throw-in played back to Gordon Cowans. Peter With making himself available. What a lovely back heel that was. And Gary Shaw in the space with the composure and planting it right in the corner. Well set up by Peter With, and it gives Gary Shaw his 5th goal in 7 matches since he returned after injury. Came in the 31st minute, and here's Williams for Villa. And a kick in the teeth for a Wolverhampton side who've had more of the game up to now. That was Ormsby's header, and the referee spotted the foul. Just a couple of minutes left in the first half, and without Andy Gray up front, Wolves have got to channel their efforts, I think, a little bit more on the ground rather than in the air. There's a sense of nervousness about Wolves and indeed their supporters when the ball is at that end. Here comes Mortimer. Nice move this by Villa again, full of confidence. Bremner. Shaw. Oh, and it came off Palmer. Well, you can't be more unlucky than that. Villa moved the ball well out to the right wing. It was crossed in by Des Bremner. Gary Shaw got a flick header on it, and poor Jeff Palmer, it went in off him. And Aston Villa are 2 up, and life can't be more cruel than that to a team struggling near the foot of the table. Well, Aston Villa have hardly had to raise their game. Wolves have had more of the ball, and yet here are Villa 2 goals in front. Well, time now added on for stoppages at the end of what for Wolves has been a desperate first half. Here's Peter With, and Villa could make it worse yet. This is Bremner. And Palmer challenged by Morley, and Morley gets one in the face, although the referee's pointing the other way. Carr. This is Morley. Well, it's the Villa fans who are cheering at half-time. Gary Shaw, who scored the first goal and played a part in the second. But life cruel to Wolves in general, and Jeff Palmer in particular. And this barren run at the other end, in which Wolves have failed to score in 7 of their last 8 matches, continues and gives John Barnwell more problems as he goes in at half-time. Wolves had only scored 5 goals in the league before today, and now they need 3 in one match if they're going to beat Aston Villa. 5 in 10 matches, their record up to this afternoon. And the rain coming down quite heavily at the start of the second half here. Here's With. Now Mortimer. Gary Williams, but caught by the outstretched foot of Wayne Clark. Came off Gallagher, that, and Villazan having to cover, and Parkin. Oh, another back heel by Peter With, this time to Mortimer. And With's gone to the far post, wanting it again. He's got it, and he pulled it back for Shaw, and that's gone in. Well, Peter With is really making his old club pay this afternoon. It was Wolves, who he played for a long time ago when he first came over from South Africa, and he was twice involved in that move. He set up Dennis Mortimer, he sprinted to the far side of the penalty area to collect the ball again,
number 7, Gary Shaw.
Played it back again to Gary Shaw, and the shot low through a crowd of players into the corner makes it 3-0 to Aston Villa, and things seem to be going from bad to worse for Wolves, and I don't think anybody would want to be in John Barnwell's shoes just at this moment. Williams. This is Bremner. And a corner to Aston Villa, who are, at the moment anyway, just cantering through this match. Oh, and Bradshaw having to come to meet With again. Bremner's in there, and it's volleyed away by Eves, in fact. And here's Gordon Cowans. Mortimer. Played forward again for Cowans. Morley teasing Palmer, low into Shaw, got the cross away, and Gallagher and the goalkeeper, in fact Bradshaw it was, that turned it out as With stole in. And it's all Villa at the moment with Bremner. Shaw wants it into the space, instead he finds Morley, an even better ball. And there's With, and Shaw comes in again. Villazan doing just enough to put him off, but in this form, and when they're combining so beautifully, With and Shaw are surely the best tandem in the First Division. Certainly they proved that last season, and the understanding seems to be back now that Shaw has recovered from injury, and with two, after a knock in the League Cup, is back at his best. And there goes With. My word, he's so mobile. Clark. Here comes Carr again. Now can Wolves get something moving here? They've got Birch on the ball. Eves down the right. And he was blocked there as he came inside, so it's a free kick. I seem to recall Aston Villa winning 4-0 here about 4 seasons ago. And that's their best ever performance in a league match at Molineux. They've got a chance of equalling that this afternoon now. But for the moment, Wolves are trying to get one back. With Birch. To Palmer. Offside in the middle against Wayne Clark. I don't think that would have mattered, that miss. It wasn't Mel Eves who had the shot who was offside. It was the man to his left, Wayne Clark, when Palmer played the ball in, and it looked like a bad miss from Eves, but the linesman's flag, I think, would have ruled out any appeal for a goal. Touched down by With for Shaw, and he's on his way again. It's going to come to Cowans. And Palmer now. Oh, Mortimer, and they've got Morley free again if they need him on the left wing, but Mortimer's going alone. What a tremendous run. Oh, and at the end, he missed the far post. But Villa are revelling now in the amount of space and superiority which they've gained. Wolves are demoralised at this point in the afternoon. There's an hour gone, and Mortimer broke there from midfield and went alone. All the way, the shot just wide. This really is very much Aston Villa's second half. I know they've only scored once so far, as against twice in the first half, but the game has been far more one-sided in their favour since half-time. And that must have pleased the manager, Ron Saunders, because quite often teams are accused of coming back from Europe and not being at their best on the following Saturday. He must feel that they've done awfully well here. Carr for Wolves. That was on by With for Bremner. Now it's Shaw in the centre, coming in on the cross. Villazan cutting it out. And Shaw winning it back from Willie Carr. Look at that, this is Bremner. Shaw setting up With, this time is he. It's been played back for Morley and now Gibson. Villa still with 4 players in the area. Morley. Good football from Villa, and Morley tries one, and it's not so very far over as Bradshaw was caught off his line. Well, I think this match has tended to sum up Aston Villa's season so far. They started slowly, but got better as time went on. And as this rain pours down, at the moment there's only one team in it. Peter With is trying to cut off the pass back. Here's Carr. And Brazier. And Parkin. It could be Alan Clark, couldn't it, in that picture? So similar. Here's Wayne, though. And he's guilty of a foul there on Gary Williams, and indeed that incident takes the match over the 90 minutes into time added on for stoppages. Ought to be said that this match has been played in a good spirit. There's been no carryover of any acrimony from previous meetings between the two clubs. Bearing in mind they meet again next Tuesday here in the second leg of the Football League Cup tie, in which Villa already have a 3-2 lead, and they've won here today by 3-0, taken 3 points, and Ron Saunders' team, after a most successful 8 days, have gone 13 games without defeat, while John Barnwell's Wolves have now failed to score in 8 of their last 9 games, and their troubles have been multiplied by this very convincing home defeat. A match in which Wolves had very little say after half-time. Peter With tormented them, and at the end the score reflected exactly what we saw. Wolves 0, Aston Villa 3, with Gary Shaw involved in all 3 goals.